And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And you can find out their inventory by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com for a sneak peek and for all the information that you need. Here inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, bringing you our Friday broadcast with our trio of signature segments, plus putting a show within a show in today's broadcast. Inside of MON-FRI's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', we're going to start off the show with the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we'll jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, the acronym brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero. The top dog of the week will be announced from K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, and the show within a show, Isaac Alford, my better half of Tortora and Alford, will join me to reflect on the 2024-25 Syracuse Orange men's basketball season. So, without further ado, let's jump into the Annoying Moment of the Week.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The Annoying Moment of the Week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. Yeah, the Annoying Moment of the Week I just love that. The Annoying Moment of the Week for this week on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. As I look through this all and I think to myself, I've had a lot of wonderful moments. I have a lot of blessings in my life. My Annoying Moment of the Week, I would have to say, I'm gonna kind of blame myself for this. So I had tooth surgery, and I got my wisdom teeth taken out, all four. Plus, I had a bonus wisdom tooth above one of my other teeth. And so I got two annoying moments of the week. I had like a mucus cyst thing wrapped around my extra wisdom tooth, and I've been getting like sinus infections and all this stuff with my sinuses. So I'm hoping that'll solve my problem. So it was an annoying moment, but now it's gone. So that spins things to a positive. So I'm hoping that annoying moment is no longer an annoying moment, but I'll call that an annoying moment. The other annoying moment I'm going to say is me. And I'm going to say it's me. You're like, why would you pick yourself? I would say it's me because I have a tendency to, let's not say I have a I don't always listen to instructions. Right? And so I'm going to put myself on the spot for the Annoying Moment of the Week. And so really what it comes down to is I don't always listen when it comes to instructions. And, I have a surgeon that did my tooth surgery. And when they did my tooth surgery, they told me like certain things you're not supposed to eat and certain things you're not supposed to do, and so on and so forth. And I decided to not necessarily listen to any of that and kind of just do what I wanted to do. And in not listening to that, I feel like I kind of put myself, in certain respects, behind the eight ball. So I'm going to say that I'm going to call myself the Annoying Moment of the Week in the sense that, the doctor's like, be on a soft diet, make sure that you're not eating anything crazy. And so I was like, all right, well, I want a burrito, but I won't get a burrito. I'll get something like a burrito, right? So I'm like, I won't get the burrito because of what's going on in my teeth and can't really open my mouth that wide. So instead of getting a burrito, I'll just get a bowl. But then you put all this stuff in the bowl, and now I'm trying to eat all these things, and most of it's soft, but there's a lot of stuff in it, and I'm eating too fast. So I would say I don't always listen to the healing side of things. and I could get better with that. So I'm going to partially call myself the annoying moment of the week because I didn't necessarily listen to the surgeon. Now, he said I'm healing good. Everything looks great with my, all the areas where they did the surgery. So that's a good thing to know that I didn't obstruct anything. But I'm going to partially call myself the annoying moment of the week because I didn't listen as good as I should. So I will say that. All right, I will say that I'm partially to blame for being the annoying moment of the week. The other annoying moment that I would say is that egg prices are back up again. And you know that I have a thought about these egg prices. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. And, they're like $6 now. And my thing is like, I don't buy eggs. Like when they went up to $4, $5, $6, a couple of years ago, I said to myself, I'm not buying eggs. And I didn't. And then I had to because during the holiday season, during Thanksgiving and during Christmas, I make pumpkin pie and I make rigot pie. And you can't make those without eggs. So I had to buy eggs. So that like one time where they were like whatever they were, I think they maybe went down to 3 something or maybe 4. I had to buy a bunch of eggs, but I won't buy eggs anymore. They're an annoying moment of the week because they're $6 still, and it's ridiculous. So I'm going to say I'm partially to blame for the annoying moment of the week because I was trying to eat things that I probably shouldn't, and I should have just taken it soft, taken it easy. And then, I would also say the annoying moment of the week has to go to egg prices. And it also has to go to people that are not like happy for you. You know what I mean? Like people that can't just feel good about, like you tell them something really good in your life and they don't say anything, and you repeat yourself and they don't say anything, and you just realize that you're like, okay, like I've said it more than once just to make sure that they heard me, and obviously they heard me and they're not saying anything to it, so maybe they don't care. And I don't enjoy when people don't want to see you win. If they don't want to see me win, they don't want to see you win. I don't like that. I don't like when people don't want to see other people win. It makes me sad. And I just feel like sometimes jealousy gets in the way and people just act some kind of way. And I really just feel like people need to learn better and they have to do better because I don't. I really honestly, I've been in moments with people where I tell them something that's really, really important to me, and I think we've all been there. You tell somebody something that's like really, really important to you, and they just can't seem to support you. They can't seem to say anything nice. They can't seem to be happy for you. They seem jealous of the situation and of the moment. And that's an annoying moment to me, really, of any week. When you tell somebody something that really matters to you, and they just carry on like you didn't say it. And then you wonder, like, does this person ever want me to be happy? Or do they ever want me to be happy in this part of my life? And why? And what you realize over time is you can't make everybody happy. And sometimes that's your family. And sometimes that's who you think is your best friend. And sometimes that's who you think is your significant other. But you can't make people happy. You can love them. You can listen to them. You can strive to be great. You can work hard. But you can't make somebody love you. You can't make somebody understand you. You can't make somebody appreciate you. And unfortunately, I'm 39 years old and I'm finally learning that these lessons are true. But it's something that people tell you a long time ago and you just don't want to believe it and you don't listen to it. But the reality of it all is not everybody has your back. And I'm not saying that in a depressing way. It's real life. Not everybody has your back. Not everybody's rooting for you. And the people that you might think are your people, when you're winning and you're doing well and they're ignoring it, they're not congratulating you, they're not championing you, they're not talking to you about it. To me, like, you can't support somebody in one part of their life. You can't support them like chasing their dreams for their job and then not support their romantic life and them chasing love. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about people doing bad things. I'm not saying support that. I'm saying if you support somebody, if you support someone, you support them. You don't support them here and then you don't support them there. And I just don't know why people do that. And I've just gotten to a point in my life where whether you're my family member, whether you're my friend, whether you're my girlfriend, whether you're somebody I work with, a business partner, if you're trying to bring me down, I don't want you in my presence. And if that means I lose money, if that means I lose the girl on my arm, if that means that that family member doesn't talk to me or this person doesn't want to hang out anymore, so be it. Because if you can't be happy for me, that's going to sit on my stomach for a long time. And it's never going to go away. And every time I see you, I'm going to think about that. It's also ungrateful. There's also the ungrateful side of things. Do you ever take somebody out to get a meal and the check comes and they don't say anything? And then you pick up the check and they don't say anything? And then you pay the check and they don't say anything? And then you put the tip down and they don't say anything? And then you leave and they don't say thank you? You know, that to me tells a lot to me about someone's character, about who they are. And there's things that you might consider really little things, but I've realized in life that the little things are the big things. And one of the quote unquote little things in life is taking somebody out to dinner and they don't say thank you and they don't offer to help whether or not you would take it, and they don't offer to split it, and they don't offer to at least leave the tip. And then if they don't say any of that stuff, that the absolute bare minimum is to say thank you for paying for my meal. And when somebody can't thank you for paying for their meal or paying for their ticket or paying for their flight or, you know, paying for the candy that they like, if you can't simply say thank you or God bless you or please, you know, normal basic stuff, then either somebody raised you wrong or they raised you right and you decided not to listen. But either way is wrong. And if you don't appreciate me I don't take you out for me to say for you to say thank you to me. But if I do that and you don't, I'm never taking you out for a meal again. Because if that's your character and that's who you are and that's what you're about, you know, and then you have a night to sleep on it and you see the person the next day and you don't say thank you, and weeks go by and you don't say thank you. And the thing is I pay attention to that stuff and I say it's a cautionary tale. And then weeks later, months later, when I'm interacting with that person and I thank them for something, I get no response. When I say thank you, I get no response. And so that thing that you might think is small actually ends up showing the true character of somebody. And you saw it really early on, and then it just continues to get bigger. But there are things in life that you got to pay attention to, that gut feeling. And when something inside your gut says, the way that this person handled this situation is not good, the way this person talked to me is not good, you got to pay attention to that stuff. Because if we don't pay attention to that stuff, then, you know, to me, eventually, if you don't pay attention to the tells that people are giving you to show you who they are, eventually you have to deal with it because it eventually comes to the surface. So, like, you see a little bubble on the surface and then another little bubble, and then all of a sudden there's a body on the surface. And I'm trying to figure out what body's going to float to the surface before it gets there. Because if I could do that, then I'm not going to put myself in that situation, and I'm not going to be by that body of water waiting for that to happen. You know, if you see those bubbles coming up and you don't think it's a body that's about to come up, then you're not paying attention. And I was raised that you say please, you say thank you, you appreciate things, you never expect somebody to do anything for you, even if you've known them for 20 years. Every time my parents pay for food, thank you, Mom, thank you, Dad, I love you, I appreciate it. Every time. And if I somehow missed a time, then I'm calling them in the car or I'm yelling it across the parking lot. I don't know if I've experienced ever, and definitely not, I don't know, and it was in business. I don't know if I've ever in business experienced that before, where I bought somebody a meal who expected the meal and then didn't even have the decency to say thank you after not offering to help, after not recognizing the check, after not offering to pay anything. And they didn't say it's on me. After they didn't say thank you and didn't do any of the stuff, they proceeded to say to me, when you take me out again. And I was like, so this person thinks this meal is owed to them, and they've already decided that they're owed another one. So this is just who they are. This is just their nature. This is them. And, you know, in business, in my bed, in my friendships, and in my family, if that's who you are, I don't want you around me. And unfortunately, you know, when we find out these things, it's not anything you ever want to find out. But when you find it out, you got to pay attention to it. So that's an annoying moment of the week for me, because nobody should take a gesture from someone and not say thank you. It's just not kind, and it's not right. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. This has been the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented to you from Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. My exclusive home of my DT Dolphin, mint chocolate chip ice cream, green for the Dolphins, hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream, only at Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York, right down the road from Lemoyne College.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma&Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at MON-FRI.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at MONFRI'spopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma&Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma&Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma&Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, as we are here with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And you could find out more about the Accord, the Civic, the Pilot, the CRV, the HRV, as well as the Ridgeline that my dad has, and more by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. With that being said, we are jumping into our next piece here on the broadcast, and that is LEAD. Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Proudly presented by the fantastic team at Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York, led by the incomparable Jimmer Sikowski. Today's topic, when hurt is blinding. What do I mean by that? When hurt is blinding. Well, what I mean is when you're hurt by something, sometimes when we're hurt, we just don't pay attention to what's going on. We're so focused on the pain that we choose not to focus on anything else. We just focus on the pain. When hurt is blinding, when we've been hurt so bad and so deep that we can't see what's going on, right? We can't see something good right in front of us. We mess things up. We don't listen. We don't hear what's being said to us. And I've been there. I've been there. I've been there. You know, where you're in a good situation, but you can't even tell that you're in a good situation because you're so concerned with what's happened to you, what's gone on in your life. When hurt is blinding, what I mean by that is when we are so engulfed in what's happened to us and what has hurt us that we can't see. That we'll keep fighting with somebody when there's nothing to fight about, when nobody's fighting with us. We'll push people away, we'll push good things away, push good opportunities away. Because we are so stuck in what happened and in how much it hurt. So we just sit with it. When hurt is blinding, the things that have caused us pain in the past prevent us from seeing the blessing that is in our present. It's as simple as that to say, but it's really hard sometimes to figure it out. And I bring it up today because I want you to figure it out before it's too late. I wouldn't want it on me, and I wouldn't want it on you. To be in a place where the pain that you have felt and the pain that you've gone through cuts you so deep and you haven't healed from it that you don't look at what you have. You don't look at what is right in front of you, speaking to you, calling to you, loving you, cherishing you. You know, they say a man or a woman who's been hurt so many times, by the time they find a good person, they're beaten and bruised and they don't believe it. And that good person that they waited for, that they wanted to give everything to, and they gave all that stuff instead to a bunch of people that didn't appreciate it, when they finally meet the person that will appreciate it, because they're not healed and they went through all that pain, they don't give it. And that one thing they waited their whole life for, when they finally get it, they're not ready for it. That's something I don't wish on myself, and I don't wish on you. To be in any type of relationship where when good things finally come, right? You had 10 bad bosses. You finally get a good boss. And you don't appreciate that boss. And you talk back to that boss. And you don't care if you come in late. And you do your work halfway. Because nobody ever cared before. So why should I put anything into it? My old bosses didn't appreciate me. So why should I appreciate you? See, you can pass the buck forward in a good way, and you can pass the buck forward in a bad way. You know, when you do something good for someone, I call it pay it forward. When you do something bad towards someone, I call it pay it backward. Pay it backward. When you're taking your literal past from behind you and you're pulling somebody back there with you. If you meet someone who loves you and cherishes you and appreciates you, and all you've ever known is pain and you push them away, then guess what? All the people that pushed you away and hurt you, now you're that person to that right person. When you tell someone, I've been in so much pain and all people ever do is give me pain, and you meet someone who doesn't cause you pain and you cause them pain, you pay it backward. When you have that new coach, but the last coach lied to you and the last coach wasted your time and the last coach in recruiting said to you a bunch of things that were never going to happen. So when this coach asks you to believe in them, you don't. You talk back, you talk during practice, you don't come to team meetings because gosh forbid you believe in this coach, the other one lets you down, and you don't want to give your heart and soul to this program because you don't want to deal with another coach letting you down. So then you end up missing out. When hurt is blinding, we can't see the blessing. When hurt is blinding, we can't see what we're doing. We've all been hurt. We will all go through pain. If Jesus Christ, God himself, did not leave this world unscathed, we will not either. I pray for as little as possible. I pray that it doesn't hurt badly. And I pray that that hurt doesn't sustain itself and perpetuate itself and keep going. I just know that we will hurt. We will go through hard times. We will have to battle. We'll find out who we are. We'll find out who people are around us. And we'll find out who's with us and who's not. And not even necessarily that they're against us. They're just not with us. When your hurt blinds you from the opportunity in front of you, I pray for me, for you, for everybody that you know, that you realize it before it's too late, that you see it before that person goes away. Because pain that causes more pain. That's the thing, is hurt's always going to cause you more hurt when you focus on it. I'm not saying don't be hurt. We all have feelings and emotions. We're all going to be hurt. I'm just saying don't let that hurt blind you from the good that's in your life. Okay, so your boyfriend cheated on you, but you have a great job. Don't ruin that job over him. Okay, so you didn't get the house you wanted. You still got food on your table. And I'm sad you got to be in this apartment still, and I know you don't want to be, but at least you got a place to sleep. We have to strive to be positive. We have to strive to appreciate. We have to strive to be good in the face of evil. We have to strive to be thankful when we don't get what we want. Because the hurt that you're feeling today, I pray, does not cause you more pain tomorrow. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver from Chick-fil-A Cicero. We'll be back from the Great Lakes Honda City studios with Wake Up Call right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home.
Recording
and remember to come see our
stopped.
monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, We are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks comes to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, and you will find them open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5, with all of your sports card and trading card needs, constantly getting in new packs, new boxes, new singles, new graded cards, potential autographs, RPAs, one-of-ones. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks, and they just put a bunch of new singles into their cases. They just did a PSA order and got a bunch of those graded cards back, and the packs and the boxes continue to evolve, including new X-Men cards that just came in. So, get yourself over to GG Cards and Breaks today and do yourself a favor. Stay a big kid. Or learn how to be a big kid again. We should never lose that big kid spirit. That's what Robin Williams taught us in that movie Hook, right? Got to learn to caw always. So find your way over to GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Let them know that DT sent you, and I appreciate you as always. With that being said, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we get set to have Mr. Alford on, it is time very quickly to do the Top Dog of the Week. Top Dog of the Week brought to you by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, right here on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York, across the street from BJ's Wholesale Club, and just a moment or two off of Erie Boulevard, you will find the amazing K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, where I trust you to bring your dog for the tender loving care in a home away from home. Make sure you let them know that DT sent you. Lorraine, Chad, and the entire team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare are phenomenal. You can call them at 315-437-7110, and you can find out more information by going to K-9 K-A-M-P ground, or pardon me, K-9 KAMP.com. That's K-9 KAMP.com. With that being said, my top dog of the week this week, I got to give it up to, who am I going to choose? Where am I going to go? Who's going to be my top dog of the week? I'm going to give it up to two guys that are no longer Jaguars, but they'll always be my dogs. Christian Kirk and Evan Engram. My top dogs of the week. Jacksonville made two mistakes, and they are named Christian Kirk and Evan Engram. That's not the only mistakes that they've made recently. Also Andre Sisco, who I will name my top dog of the week as well. Don't want to forget about him. This trio of gentlemen have been on the show numerous times. I covered Andre Sisco when he was at Syracuse and covered him his time at Jacksonville. I covered Evan Engram at Jacksonville as well and respected him when he was a Giant. I thought Christian Kirk was the heir apparent in Arizona, and I thought the torch would be passed from Larry Fitzgerald to him. It didn't work out there. He became a good possession receiver when he came to Jacksonville. Well, Andre Sisco leaves as a free agent, so they got nothing for him. Evan Engram was released, so they got nothing for him. And Christian Kirk, well, they got a 7th-round draft pick in 2026. So of 3 starters, they got 1 7th-round draft pick that they can't even cash in this year. New GM, same old problems. The Jaguars are not my top dogs of the week, but Evan Engram, Andre Sisco, and Christian Kirk, you all are. God bless you, and I hope that I cross paths with you again. I appreciate every single one of you for being on my show. I appreciate the talk on God and faith. And one more time, Lily's going to show you a big shout out. Top dogs of the week here from K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. With that being said, I'm about to jump picture in picture with my brother here, Mr. Isaac Alford, the better half of Tortora and Alford. He would tell you the same. He's not going to even say I'm the better half. He would say, no, it's him. So with that being said, we have Isaac here on the broadcast, and we just got to unmute the man to bring him in here. So, Mr. Alford, how we doing? Oh, we just got to unmute you here. We got to unmute. We got him muted here. So, let's see here if I can fix it on my end. So there we go. Let's see if we can hear him now. So he's still muted. We're working on it. We're trying to do it. See, this is what Shaq and Charles should do to each other. But we're trying to get Isaac unmuted here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We will take a quick step aside, and we'll come back with Isaac, we think, in just a moment. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. I had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees and As much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in '07, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allow customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here on the show, and we thank you so much for being with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCall DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, all throughout the world, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast. You will find us all around the globe on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And so I am very, very appreciative to have you on the broadcast. I thank you for all the time that you have spent over the years. I can't believe this is year 22 as a broadcaster, but then in a way I kind of can, because I've had a lot of memories, and obviously these memories came over a long period of time, and those memories over a long period of time have brought some really great things to my life. And so I can't say enough about the people that I've met, the things I've gotten to do, the businesses that I've gotten to work with, the partnerships, the friendships. If I wasn't in the world of the media, I would have never met Isaac. We would have never sat next to each other. We would have never became close friends, which eventually became brothers. So life is good. There's a lot of great things that come from that. So here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we continue to wait for Isaac and the audio to come through here. It's a South Carolina thing. They move slower down south. So as we get this ready, I do have time to make a note of something that I care about a lot here on the show. And that's the NCAA tournament. So I'm going to take my screen here, and I'm going to let you know those automatic bids that we know for sure are in the NCAA tournament. So let's go to what this world looks like for the auto bids. The first one that I will make mention of is out of the Ohio Valley Conference, SIU Edwardsville Cougars, who are making their first appearance ever in the men's Division I NCAA tournament for basketball. The next that we'll talk about is High Point, who are making their first appearance. I thought they had made one before, but High Point making their first appearance. They're coming out of the Big South. So we'll put High Point. These are your auto bids that are going to the men's Division I NCAA tournament. Remember, an automatic bid, if you win your conference tournament, any conference in America that plays Division I NCAA basketball, if you win your conference tournament, you're automatically in the tournament. Now, I think the rule should change that none of these auto bids play in game, because then you're not an automatic bid. You have an automatic bid to a play-in game, which is not fair. I think that the play-in games should be played by the last 8 teams that got in on at large, because that's how it should be, right? The teams that you had to figure out if they were going to get in, those are the ones that should come in last, not the ones that get the automatic bid. Well, the ASUN Lipscomb, they get in here. So we'll go ahead and put Lipscomb on the board. Out of the Missouri Valley Conference, Drake is in their 8th and 3rd straight men's Division I basketball bracket here for the NCAA. The Drake, they're officially in here. The next one we have out of the Summit League, Omaha. It's not just a thing that is said by Peyton Manning in the huddle. Omaha has made it to the NCAA tournament for men's basketball this year, and this is their first appearance. The Wofford Terriers are making their first appearance since 2019, but it's their 6th overall, coming from the SoCon, one of the oldest conferences in America that had their 100th anniversary within these past few seasons. So now we have Wofford. So Wofford will be joining into the NCAA tournament as an automatic bid from the SoCon. The Sun Belt brings us the Troy Trojans. So Troy has advanced into this year's NCAA tournament as an automatic bid for men's Division I basketball. Out of the Northeast Conference, where Lemoyne competes, we have St. Francis, Pennsylvania. St. Francis, PA, making it to the nation's tournament, taking down number 1 seed Central Connecticut State. In the Horizon League, the Robert Morris Colonials are making their 9th appearance, but their first in a decade. Their first since 2015. So we have Robert Morris to put on the board. The Colonials getting back into the men's Division I NCAA tournament bracket. Next up, out of the Coastal Athletic Association, the CAA, UNC Wilmington, who is making their 7th appearance, but their first in 8 years. UNC Wilmington. Did you know there's a bunch of UNCs? There's a UNC Charlotte, there's a UNC Greensboro, a UNC Wilmington, UNC Asheville. It's not just Chapel Hill. Our auto bids continue with one that you know very well. They have won 26 straight conference tournament titles and 27 overall. 20 of them, I believe, have come under marked few. Out of the West Coast Conference, them Gonzaga Dogs, the Zags, Gonzaga Bulldogs, are back in this nation's tournament. and having a better record than them during the season, the St. Mary's Gales, I believe, will have an at-large bid. Probably be on that 7-10 line. In the Southland Conference, McNeese Cowboys have made it. And McNeese Cowboys, in their backcourt, have former Syracuse guard Quadir Copeland. And his first season with McNeese is going to the big dance. So how about that? Being at McNeese is better than being at Syracuse when it comes to getting into the big dance, as of right now. In the Patriot League, the American University Eagles have advanced. And so American gets put on this board. And I believe we might actually get to hear Isaac in a second here. So what happened was the check that I sent over to Isaac didn't get to him quick enough, and so he refused to go on air until we went on PayPal. So the next one we have up here out of the big sky, the Montana Grizzlies are the last team, as of now, to advance with an automatic bid. There is your sheet here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 14 teams that will automatically be guaranteed a spot in the NCAA tournament. My only disagreement, some of these teams, probably St. Francis, PA, are going to be put in a play-in game. So they're guaranteed a spot, kind of. And an automatic bid should be exactly that. So that's my only gripe with the current format of the NCAA tournament, is that an automatic bid team that wins their conference title could still have to play into the tournament. I think the play-ins should be the teams that are the final at-large bids to make it. The final 8 should play each other in some way, shape, or form. But that makes sense. So why would the NCAA do it? With that being said, we have Mr. Alford on the broadcast, and we're going to be bringing him in here in just a second. So apparently, I can now proudly say that the check cleared, and we're good here. Mr. Alford, how are we doing? Can you hear us? Okay. Now we can't hear him, or we can't hear him now. It says he's not on mute, but we can't hear him. So we got his microphone, we got to figure it out. So we can put him on mute, and we can ask him to unmute himself. But
can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Okay, don't touch anything. Okay. Don't touch anything.
The transaction finally cleared.
That's right. That's right. I didn't know it took that. I think there's like a $3 service fee, and I only sent 27 cents, so I don't know why it took so dang long.
I don't go on air until the check clears. You know how that goes.
That's right. Yeah. I'm happy that Syracuse University wrote that check, and I just had to put my name on it for you. So with that being said, and
it was almost like a voucher.
It was almost like a voucher. We know all about them vouchers. So we had Isaac on the screen. We can hear him now, but we can't see him. So let's try to get Isaac on the screen with us. This is what happens, folks. This is what happens when you do a broadcast. You never know how it's going to look. You never know how it's going to go until you do it. So let's make sure that we can get Isaac on our screen officially here. There we go. So we had him on the screen. He came off the screen for a second. You can hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we can hear you. So
all right.
What are your thoughts on the automatic bid? I just made my statement about it. I love the auto bids. There's over 30 conferences in the NCAA. Nobody has as fair of a system as the NCAA tournament for men's and women's basketball, because it says if you win your conference tournament, regardless of your conference, then you are in the NCAA tournament. My only issue is when you call it an automatic bid, and then you typically make of the 8 auto bids, you make at least 4 of them, if not more, that won their conference tournament have to still play their way in. Should an automatic bid be a true automatic bid to the round of 64? And should they stop putting auto bids, conference tournament champions in the play-in games, or are you okay with them being in the play-in game?
No, I think they should be in the round of 64. I mean, prior to the extra play-in games, is that how they work? They went straight to the round of 64. So I would think the play-in games would be a lot more interesting if you had some of these power conferences playing for those seats to get into the tournament. Well, who's to say that those teams can't make a run if they had to play the play-in game? As far as making it, these other conference champions that already won and earned the right to at least get a rest for a couple of days. So I would say I would prefer to see the power conferences coming in and doing the play-in games. And you would think they would have more depth to even survive something like that, 1-2 extra games. And in the grand scheme of things, it's just really that first week. It's not like if you survive the first week, you back on regular schedule.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I definitely agree with, saying, hey, if you earn the conference championship, and I agree with you too, it's one of the fairest systems in college athletics where everybody gets an opportunity to be a Cinderella, to come in there. Hopefully football can get to that point, but that's still a work in progress. But that's what makes the tournament great. And I like the lead in, how you went down the automatic qualifiers already. I'm a fan of McNeese State already. I haven't seen them play a game yet this year, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that first game they do play, because there's a vested interest definitely into Quadir playing in that game. So, just sitting back here, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get into the whole Syracuse season, but just listening to you talk and bring up the brackets, it's kind of getting myself back in the mood for the tournament, because I can tell you, brother, this season right here is like, I don't know. I just went really looking forward to basketball.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't either. I mean, you and I were talking about, the whole football season, that we didn't want football season to end, and we didn't want to see football season go away, and that we weren't just really jazzed about this basketball season, a season where Syracuse, in their second season under Adrian Autry, finishes the season 13-19, or pardon me, 14-19. I want to finish my point here, though. When we talk about if the last 8 teams that were at-large bids, if they played the play-in games that are always in Dayton, Ohio for the men, this is what Dayton, Ohio would have this year. Arkansas of the SEC, San Diego State of the Mountain West, Vanderbilt of the SEC, Xavier of the Big East, Utah State of the Mountain West, UNC of the ACC, West Virginia of the Big 12, and Texas of the SEC. That's what it would look like. We could see play-in games in Dayton, Ohio, featuring Utah State versus San Diego State. We could see North Carolina versus Arkansas, Texas versus Vanderbilt, West Virginia versus Xavier, or any mashup of that. To me, that is what we should see. The last ones that get in on an at-large, the ones that didn't win their conference tournament, the ones that are trying to get into this, it makes perfect sense to say, if you're going to have play-in games, have the last 8 teams that you thought deserved to get in at-large-wise that a committee had to vote upon, let those be the ones that play in, because if those were the toughest ones to figure out, and they're literally the last ones that got in on the skin of their teeth, then isn't that a true definition of a play-in game?
Exactly. I totally agree. I mean, who knows what these guys in these committee rooms are putting together, but that is truly definition of if you just coming in on the skin of whatever the metrics are, quad 1, this and that, then okay, then make it equal to your opponents. Don't put, Texas up against the American, what I'm saying? Don't just pick out the smaller conferences and then match them up with the big guys and saying, hey, good luck, because it's almost like you already taking the opportunity from those other conference teams that won their tournaments that, hey, maybe they can make a little bit of noise. Now they got to play opponent that's probably going to be, that could have probably been on, let's say in a normal year, they could have probably been on a 6 to a 8 line. You know what I'm saying? But now you don't give them the opportunity. So I mean, that is a great point. I didn't really think about it, but you make a good point there that, hey, if you are one of the last 4 outs or the last 4 ins or whatever the case may be, yeah, I definitely agree with that. It will make it more interesting, too, to watch the play-in games, because I can tell you, honestly, I don't really watch the play-in games.
Well, and you think about how excited would somebody get to watch Texas and North Carolina play on the Tuesday as the brackets coming in. By the way, we made it very easy for y'all this season. If you would like to join the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge, which is international, and it is through Yahoo, you can search our group on Yahoo by looking up Wake Up Call DT, or I made this. I literally made a QR code thanks to one of the sites that I had the opportunity to do this on. I made a QR code to be used for you to join us in the tournament. All you have to do on your screen right now, in this moment, is scan this code. And I'm going to put this code up on the screen right now. This is all you have to do. If you can see it, maybe it's not going to let me show it. Oh, there it is. Kind of. Wait for it. So you can kind of see it there. So all you got to do is scan that code. Scan that code, and it's also on all of our social media. But if you scan that code, you could join the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge for free that comes to you from Yahoo Sports. We have been featured in the top 50 brackets in the entire world on Yahoo multiple times. We were in the top 25 as far as group membership in the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge. We were in the top 25 Yahoo brackets that were public in the world in recent history. So, I ask you to put your bracket in. Mr. Alford, will you be joining the bracket challenge with me?
Oh, of course, I will be joining the bracket challenge. What is the award again?
You get to stay my brother. You get to stay my friend.
I don't think that's changing regardless.
No, that's not. You know what you get? You get some candy that has date within the last 6 months.
Okay, I would agree to that. Yeah, some updated candy is always a good thing.
Yeah, this is so. No, we are giving away prizes, but if you beat me, we're gonna say this right now. I'm comfortable doing this. Hold me to it. You got to say something. I got to say something. My bet to you is, now regardless of who wins the entire bracket challenge, if your bracket ends better than my bracket this year, I will buy you 2 bags of candy of your choice. Not 1, but 2. So if your bracket's better than mine in the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge this year, I will get you 2 bags of your favorite candy, and for the first time ever, fresh.
Oh, so this is between me and you. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So what's your bet to me? If my bracket's better than yours, I'm doing this.
Your bracket's better than mine. There's a large pizza pie in your future. How about that?
So usually I pay Isaac. We go back and forth. So if you're putting that in there, that means you buy 2 in a row. I like that.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. So there's a pizza pie for me at the Wildcat. That we usually get it out there. Also go out to Pizza Man, Avicoli's, all that. So I get a pizza, you get candy. What should the loser do? So if I lose to you or you lose to me, what should that person have to do?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to put some thought into that one.
You know what I would say? If somebody, I would think somebody lost this bracket if they had the parking pass we have for Syracuse games.
How about a voucher?
Yeah, we get a voucher. So I'm trying to think whichever one of us loses. So if I win, I get.
If you lose, then you already buy another person something. So.
That's true. That's all right. That's true. I can live with that. How about? But we put a little ice on the cake. If you win, I get you the 2 bags of candy of your choice, and I got to wear something Commanders.
Okay.
And if I win, you buy me a large pizza, and you got to wear something Jaguars.
Oh, I bet.
All right. I love that.
Just give me a fresh Diami Brown wide receiver jersey. You know.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna give you a Riley Patterson kicker jersey.
As long as he can kick, Riley Patterson.
Yeah, I love Riley, but Riley leaves Jacksonville. I didn't agree with the move. Riley leaves Jacksonville, and he goes to Washington. And I'm watching a preseason game. So when you realize how mad this man next to me got, this is a preseason game, okay? So as Allen Iverson would call it, practice. So we're watching this preseason game, And I said, oh, my man Riley Patterson's kicking for you guys. I'm like, I'm so happy for him. And Isaac goes, you better be able to kick. And then he missed a couple. I think in that game he missed 3 or 4. And he said, and so like he had missed like 2. And Isaac's talking to me on the phone. He goes, your boy better learn how to kick. Your boy better get it right. Your boy's going to be out on the curve. And I was like, man, you knew he was on the team for like 5 minutes. He's like, I don't care. That man going to miss field goals. His job's going to be vacant real quick. Yeah.
So, we don't last long in Washington when you miss kicks. I'm telling you, man. That is habitual line stepping.
That is absolutely true. I will say this: if you lose the bet, you might end up wearing something Jaguars before I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I am not happy with the decisions that we have made. So I got a lot of fresh Jaguar stuff, and I'm like, man, they're getting rid of all my people. So
you might have to give it up there.
Well, I do love Jaden Daniels.
I know that.
I did predict him to have the best quarterback season preseason, and predicted right behind him Bo Nix. Before Bo Nix was even a starter, I predicted that Bo Nix would have the second best, and they both went to the playoffs. So shout out to them both. And by the way, Bo Nix, treat my man well, because my guy Bo Nix is now throwing to my other guy, Evan Engram. So
yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Engram, who went to the Broncos without having to give anything up to the Jaguars, because Jacksonville is only interested in making a deal with you if it involves a 5th, a 6th, a 7th round, or, get this, if it involves nothing. They are willing to work with you if you're offering nothing. Because
had I known they was getting rid of Cisco, I would have definitely made a call into our front office and say, hey, I got a guy we can pick up, But
I love when we said this and we came up with the bet in the moment, and you said bet, and all I could think about is Kevin going, hey, Spank, bet, Wayne, bet, come on, bet, hey, bet. And he said that's how my friends and I get each other in trouble, but all right, it's a bet. It's a bet. Handshake over
definitely a handshake
over the air. So we are ready. You heard the bet, folks. And one thing that I can tell you is you will not be betting on a Syracuse game this postseason. Syracuse is done at 13-19. Sad face for a lot of the Syracuse fans. After the game where Syracuse lost to SMU, all jokes aside, they lost by 20, 73-53. The question that was asked to Adrian Autry was, what do you want to say to the fan base? And he said, I'll have to get back to you. I don't want to comment on that right now. This is not a where's Benny. This is not a what would the team look like if you had Q or Malik. This is not a why did you put Naheem on the bench every time he does something good. This was, what do you want to say to the fan base? One of the easiest questions that you can possibly answer in the history of sports. And he said, I'll have to get back to you. What's your reaction to that?
It's more like, where's the fans, I guess, in his mind. But yeah, I mean, that's just a layup, really. I mean, if that's a softball question, you would think, the easiest thing to say is, I appreciate the support the fans gave our team throughout the year. We're looking to improve on this, hopefully for next year. So, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I guess some leadership questions get them off guard when you ask them. So maybe the fan question gets them off guard too. So I don't know.
Yeah, what Isaac just did was he threw some shade to Adrian about when I asked about leadership, and he said, be more specific. And I said, the leaders on the ship is what I'm asking for you. I said, who are the leaders as you go on the road to the West Coast, who do you consider to be the leaders on the team? He said, can you be more specific? I was like, no, but I'll try. And I was like, I said, who are the people in the locker room and on the practice court that you can lean on as leaders? And he looked at me and said, I'm the leader. I lead. This is my team. And I was like, okay. And then after it, I looked at Isaac and I was like, did I say it weird? And I was like, I said, who are your leaders? And he said, can you explain yourself? But if I had known that asking him about a fan base was going to throw him off, I mean, because somebody said they sent it in to me, my buddy Chris, he said, did you see what Adrian said about the fan base and this and that? And it's wild. And it's a very confusing thing to me. And it's no offense to Adrian. I'm wondering, there's only two things that I can take from it right now in this moment without talking to Adrian personally, and I've known Adrian for over a decade. But
Right.
if he wanted to say what fan base because they weren't showing up, or if he's upset with the fan base and right now he doesn't want to talk about it because maybe he doesn't like the way that they've acted. Remember, this is the same fan base that chanted F you Boeheim from the student section in Boeheim's last season. So it's not just Adrian.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is kind of strange though that, I mean, like I said, that's just an easy question to address your fan base, and it doesn't really do you any favors when you don't come up with something off the top just to say your appreciation, at least for the fans.
Yeah.
But it's been a weird season, man. I mean, one of the funniest things that I said to one of my coworkers was beginning of the season when I guess another question was asked, was like, so how well do you think this team will be this year? This is like, early preseason. And Adrian was like, oh, we're going to be an awesome 3-point shooting team. We're going to shoot great. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Don't, please don't say that. I mean, that's just like the mark, the mark. And I would say in the first two exhibition games, they came out and they seemed like a confident team. I said, okay, in the past few years, we struggled to even score in exhibition games. And I want to say we put up almost triple digits in those two games.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe there's some juice to this. We could shoot. But then the Lemoyne game came, and I was like, okay, this is a work in progress. So, but it's a very, very strange season. And I know how you feel about it. We talked about it so much. But I don't know. It's tough I don't know how John Calipari did it and with freshmen, but this wasn't even a freshman team, You brought in transfers that had some level experience in other, maybe not ACC level, but still these guys were seniors. So the expectations was, they would at least come in and play well together. But sometimes the fundamentals, the basic stuff didn't look right with the team, hard to break a trap, not rebounding. Now, all those little small things, and I thought, and believe it or not, I would say the last 3 or 4 games they just played, I thought there were times that they played really well. They looked like they had something going, but this team just, for some strange reason, they always had a period where they went 5-6 minutes without, I'm not saying they're not scoring, but just making mistakes, turning the ball over, just silly stuff that just blowing the leads. That was coming down the stretch. Last 3 ACC conference games, well, not counting Virginia, but they had leads, double-digit leads, and lose in the final minutes. I mean, rarely do you see stuff like that. So it was just a strange season.
Yeah, I mean, box out, rebound, break a press, break a trap, baseline, offensive rebound specifically, follow your shot, make your free throws.
Oh.
This is normal, fundamental basketball. Run a play. Any play. I don't care if the play is, I'm going to dribble to the right and 2 of you are going to run to the left. That's a play. It's something, But you got Chris Bell, whose feet are only... See, people didn't know this, but Chris wears magnets on the soles of his shoes. And the three-point line is magnetized on every court. So whenever he runs to either side of the court, his feet lock up there. And he can't move. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
And Naheem McLeod, my goodness, 7'4". How about this? If you're on a team that doesn't box out, doesn't run plays, doesn't understand baseline, could you put in a guy who's 7'4" who hits the rim when he sneezes? Maybe that could help you out a little bit. Every time Naheem McLeod came in, he would do something good, and then they're like, all right, enough of that. Get out of here. So, I mean, he almost outdid himself in the game. I think it was a game against Duke. He had,
it was Duke.
he had like 23 minutes in 7 games going into it. And then he almost eclipsed that in 1 game. He had 10 points and he did all this stuff. And he told me like he needed to do more. And I remember I talked to him about like in one of the games, he went like 3 of 4. And I said, what do you take away from the game? He's like, what I took away is that I missed a shot. So you got a guy who's got leadership. He can joke. When he does well, he tells you what he could have done better. So you got a room where all these guys are, and that's another part of a problem with this team, is toward the end of Boeheim and then all through Adrian, nobody's keeping them in the locker room. Post-game press conference happens. We go into the locker room, and the players don't have to stay. They don't have to be, number one, you can't talk to them at their locker. They have to come out and see you. When they come out and see you, they have to decide if they want to talk to the media. If they don't want to talk to the media, they can just walk out. There's some times where you go in and everybody's left except for 2 or 3 guys, so you don't even see them walk out. So there's no accountability. There's no responsibility. They don't have to talk after a win. They don't have to talk after a loss. I don't know what the athletic communications department does at Syracuse because they're supposed to, their job is to give us interview opportunities, and you walk into the locker room and there's 15 players on the bench and there's 2 people in the locker room.
Yeah.
Or a game where J.J. Starling is obviously every game that he's in, he's one of the focal pieces of the game, and he's just not there. Or Chris Bell looks at athletic communications and is kind of looking at them like, can I just go? Like, do I have to? And so to me, there's no accountability in the communications department. There's no accountability in the locker room. There's no accountability with the guys. And each of these guys, it was never like this in the locker room before. They don't look like they interact with each other. They're all on an island. It's not like talking to Syracuse. It's like talking to 12 different individual teams that are sharing a locker room. So there's no cohesiveness. There's no responsibility. There's no accountability. There's no communication. And at the end of the season, it might feel a little bit better, but I've been in the locker room for over a decade to be able to tell you that guys stayed in the locker room. They stayed at their locker. They answered questions. They did what they needed to do, win or lose, and they spoke to each other. This team just looks, and the people, well, they're new, Dan. They're new. Come on, they're new. You're not new. Y'all been together since June to July, July to August, August to September, September to October, October to November, November to December, December to January, January to February, February to March. That's 9 months. Y'all have been together long enough to create a life of a baby. Y'all have been together long enough to make a new person, and y'all can't. And the excuse is, well, it's a new team. Memphis is a new team, and they might get a number 1 seed in the tournament. Their entire team is the transfer portal.
Right.
And last year, Penny said, I went after talent, and I did it wrong. I just went after talent, and I put these guys together, and it wasn't good. It wasn't a good atmosphere. So then I went to the portal, and I looked for beyond talent. And look at what he put together. In 1 year, he's totally changed his team and made them one of the best teams in the nation. A team that beat UConn early, beat Michigan State, won in-season tournaments. So I don't want to hear Syracuse has to get to know each other. Syracuse has transfers. Syracuse has new guys. That's like when they said Dino Babers had a bad... when he had the 1-10 season, they're like, well, it was COVID. I'm sorry, did the other 49 states not have it?
Exactly.
So to me, I know it's long-winded, but I can't understand why the athletic communications department doesn't tell them they have to stay in the room. I don't understand why they're disjointed. And when you walk into a locker room with a bunch of people that are individuals, I walked into locker rooms with Michael Carter-Williams, Deion Waiters, Trevor Cooney, Jeremy Grant, Rakeem Christmas, Frank Howard. I was spoiled when I walked into a locker room. When I walk into the locker rooms now, these guys look like they don't even talk to each other.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, if they're on campus, are 2 of them ever together?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you think, but that's what I think.
You bring up a good point. I mean, like I said, expectations beginning of the year were higher because these guys are not freshmen. You know, they thought they had some battle scars that they can come in and, yeah, chemistry is a little bit to it, but like you said, Penny, you can't just look for talent, and that's a whole different thing about the transfer portal thing is you just can't do it halfway going into the portal saying, oh yeah, I just need a point guard or I just need a big man. You got to put some thought behind it, how these players going to mesh, how it's going to gel together. But like a good example of teams in the past, you know, and it was kind of even weird, like for like senior day, you know, like some of these kids are just here for 1 year and they're like, you know, it's just like they didn't even build anything just yet with the Syracuse fan base, you know. That's what's really I hate about the portal. Is like it's fine that you can bring kids in, but it's something I always look forward to seeing a freshman come in, and then I can say, okay, he might not have it this first year, but I still see potential in him. And you know, like okay, the coaches give him a little bit more time. They build up his confidence. They put more minutes here, there, and you can kind of see him. The guys start putting together, and then maybe by the end of the first year, there you can say with those saying you're no longer a freshman, and then they start playing at a higher level, and then you can look into the next couple of years and say, hey, these guys progress. But I mean, classic example, not to brag on, but Chris is still not even progressing yet for the team. You know, he's a junior.
Yeah.
And normally when you get a junior in the Syracuse system, you're almost that you're the star. You know, everybody's really looking for you to leadership. It's almost like JJ. They're looking for you for the leadership. You know, you already put in the time at the university. They're trying to learn from you what this program is about. And it's about building the program, not just putting a team together. It's, you know, you just got to have those guys that mesh and stick together. But with the transfer portal, is I'm in 1 year and I'm out the next sometimes. And, you know, but like you say, coaches got to be smart how they put teams together. So, you know, Adrian just going to have to figure it out because, yeah, you might have a nice recruiting class next year, but again, there's a bunch of freshmen.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, how did Calipari do it? Calipari didn't win national championships every year at Kentucky, bringing in freshmen. So it's not going to make it any easier.
You know, you got to remember there was NIL before NIL, but I ain't saying that.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, that's why I was going to Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you just got the those guys. You know, I still can remember just some of the names you rattled off. I saw some of them guys as freshmen, and I always had that hope that they were going to develop. But yeah, they freshman year, Boeheim, they probably had the quickest hook in the history of the program. You know, Raheem Christmas barely saw the court his first 2 years. You know, and by the time he was a senior, he was a stud. You know, and some of these guys got to be able to take coaching too. You know, I think that's a little bit of the culture too. You know, you try to tell somebody, you know, you need to do this and that. I don't know if it's the old saying is like, this is Boeheim team. And when he was suspended and Mike Hopkins had to coach for those 10 games,
yeah,
like players ain't going to react to Mike the way they reacted to Jim, you know? So maybe Adrian's going through that a little bit with some of his upper echelon guys on the team. I don't put words into those guys' mouth. Are they really following what he's saying, or is he's learning too?
Yeah.
You know, this is his first 2 years, so they just got to build on something, make sure they don't lose themselves, because you know at times this year they like the last game last night, we playing man to man, we're doing pretty good against SMU, and all of a sudden we go to a zone, and now we're leaving guys open to hit 3-point shots. So I mean, and maybe it's foul trouble. I don't know the reason why he switched, but it's just like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah. Is it working? Now stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
But are we guarding? Okay, then just guard, but don't just start giving up shots. That almost remind me. Just saying that remind me of the Duke game. You know, for the first 10 minutes of the Duke game in the first half, it was in the game. I mean, we went out of it. I mean, Duke was still up probably like by 5, and then all of a sudden we went to a zone, and they rattled off 9 straight points.
Yeah.
You know, I think 3-pointers in the zone. It's like, you know, but definitely they're going to have to work on it. You know, they're in the territory of Washington Commander kicker status. You know what that means on my level. You got to get it straight or not.
Yeah.
So
you got to get it straight, or you go be asked to leave. And
yeah, exactly.
You know, and I do. I mean, I look and people say, well, you know, in Adrian's first season, they won 20 games. Well, 19 of those 20 wins were against unranked teams. Mm-hmm. Here's those 19 games. in order of when the season started. New Hampshire, Canisius, Colgate. Chaminade, who's not a D1 team.
Right.
LSU, Cornell, Georgetown, Oregon. Niagara, Pittsburgh. Boston College, Pittsburgh again. Miami, NC State, Louisville. NC State again, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Louisville again. And then they lost to NC State when they played them in the ACC tournament. The first game they played them in, their only game that they won against a ranked opponent was which was a game that they avenged. On the road at North Carolina, they lost to the number 7th ranked Tar Heels, 103-67. Then they came home and faced them on February 13th. After losing them on January 13th, exactly a month later, they beat them, and they were ranked number 7th in the country once again. North Carolina was. They beat them 86-79. So 20 wins last year, and 19 of those come against unranked teams. So to me, that's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Not saying that some teams shouldn't have been ranked, but that is a little smoke and mirrors to say, well, he had 20 wins, and you say, well, 19 were against unranked teams, and the only team that they beat that was a ranked team they split with, which was North Carolina. This year, with a record of 14-19, their wins, Lemoyne, barely, who's in year 2 of transition from Division II to Division I in the NCAA. Colgate, barely. Youngstown State, 2 overtime win at home, barely. Cornell, none of these teams are ranked. Albany, Bucknell, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Notre Dame, Cal, BC again in 3 overtimes, who is still unranked, NC State, Virginia, Florida State. So in the 2 years that Adrian Autry has been the head coach of Syracuse, not saying that there's some teams that maybe should have been ranked that weren't, because we all know the human error that you and I talk about all the time. Just look at it brass tacks, beyond the fact that maybe some teams should be ranked. Adrian Autry in his 2 seasons as a head coach ever, which were both at Syracuse, his 34 wins have come against 33 unranked teams.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
That tells the story right there. You know, I mean, when they're playing against good competition, they're not really coming through, and it shows. I mean, most teams that come, whether it's at the Dome or on the road, when they see Syracuse, they don't back down from Syracuse.
No.
You know, I mean, that's just the fact of it. You know, they, and then that one win was literally due to, I think, Judah and JJ really outmanned the North Carolina team guards on that game. You know, they really had a good game against North Carolina at home. But yeah, I mean, that tells a lot.
Yeah, you know, and to look at that, look at those numbers, and see that 33 of Adrian Autry's 34 wins as a head coach come against unranked teams, and that very easily those first 3 games all at home could have been losses for Syracuse to Lemoyne, Colgate, as well as Youngstown State, which would have given them in a season, they would have had 22 losses for a team that typically gets to 25 wins in the Boeheim era. Since joining the ACC in the 2013-14 season, these have been the records for Syracuse in the ACC. 14-4 in 2013-14, 9-9, 9-9, 10-8, 8-10, 10-8, 10-10, 9-7, 9-11, 10-10, 11-9, and this season 7-13. So since joining the ACC, Syracuse has 1, 2. Let me put this together here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. So in the time that they've been in the ACC, so that's 7, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in 12 seasons in the ACC, in 7 of those 12 seasons, they've had a losing record in the conference, or they've had a 500 record. They've only had a winning record in the ACC 5 times in 12 years, and those records are 14-4, 10-8, 10-8, 9-7, 11-9. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when we first came in, that was probably like the best team that we had that first year.
Yeah.
You know, coming off that, not just saying the Big East experience, but that squad was really put together. I thought we really had a good chance of making noise in the conference that year. But I mean, numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
We haven't done well in the conference. For whatever reason. I mean, we've always had games where we've been in them, but then for some reason, like we said, they made mistakes or it's always, especially I guess in the zone era, that we'll always have that team that they're like, oh, this team is terrible from three, and then come into the game and shoot lights out. So.
I never forget Virginia. There was one season where like 2 or 3 teams had their best 3-point shooting percentage when they played Syracuse's 2-3 zone. Virginia in the Dome shot 70% from 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a 2-3 zone, as I will tell people 562 more times, is made for offenses that are dangerous down low, that typically have a dominant big man. A 2-3 is not used for teams that shoot threes. A 3-2 is, or man-to-man, or some or a 2-2-1 or something like that, or a 2-1-2. But because you can have a guy move forward. But really, if you got a team that shoots really well from 3, there's only, in my opinion, there's 2 defenses you can use. A 3-2 and a man are the best ones for a 3-point shooting team, because a 3-2 puts one person up and puts 2 right there by the wings that can cheat down a little bit here, so they take care of the arc. And then a man-to-man, obviously you're guarding your man. So I mean, for me, when Boeheim would say, well, the 2-3 zone, we're gonna lose a couple games to good shooting teams, and my head I remember exactly where I was. I was in the post-game press conference at Syracuse. I was grabbing a stat sheet, and he said, well, there's going to be a few games every year where a team's just going to shoot well against the zone. What can you do? And I was like, play another defense. And I remember standing there saying to myself, if you accept that you're going to lose a few games a year just because your defense is not made to stop the 3, what if that game is a single elimination tournament game? Right. You're willing to lose a game because Vermont just shot well today?
Yeah, it's funny you said Vermont, because I was thinking that same game.
Remember, my mom called me because I was like down in Florida. She goes, Dan, I can't even believe it. I said, what? She said, Syracuse lost to Vermont. I said, stop playing. And she goes, Dan, seriously, Syracuse lost to Vermont. And I turned it on, and it was like Vermont had like 9-3 or 11-3, something ridiculous. And I'm like, but that's what those teams do. There's certain teams, that's what they do. Like if I'm Vermont, there's a bunch of teams out there historically that's just what they do. Colgate, Cornell, whatever. I want to play Syracuse every single year. I'm waiting. See, Syracuse won't play St. Bonnie's because they got better. They won't play UB. UB got better. I'm just waiting for the day that they stop playing Colgate because they don't want to mess with that no more.
Right. Exactly. And the game has changed too. I mean, it's almost like I call it the era of Stephen Curry. Everybody watched Curry play, shoots, practice, shooting from half court. The 3-point line has no fear for nobody. We got 4 men trying to shoot threes in today's game. If the coach will let them shoot it, they'll shoot it. Probably back in our days, if a big guy even thought about raising up at a 3-point line, they were going to sit down, So totally different game, Yeah. You definitely got to coach it differently. I mean, if it's a good 3-point shooting team, the best thing is to make them put the ball on the floor. Don't even make them think about raising up for the 3-point shot. So, but yeah, I mean, as you say, there's no one specific defense that's going to stop everything, but you just got to have the right mindset and knowing, hey, this is not working. Hey, let's try something different.
Yeah. And you look, and again, I mean, we talk about the conference record. Syracuse has had 12 seasons in the ACC. overall, since joining the ACC, their overall records from 2013-14 have been 28-6, 18-13, 23-14, 19-15, 23-14, 20-14, 18-14, 18-10, 16-17, 17-15, 20-12, 14-19. So you look at all that streak of all those years of 20 wins or 25 wins and da-da-da-da-da. Since joining the ACC, and you go into your first year in the ACC, you're playing a bunch of teams that have never seen you before, or they rarely see you. Syracuse goes 28-6, like I said, so they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons of 12 where they have had at least 20 overall wins. Being in the ACC, their overall record has had at least 20 wins. And in the 12 years they've been in the ACC, they've only had an overall record of more than 20 wins 3 times in 12 years.
In 12 years.
Yeah. 23 wins, 23 wins, 28 wins.
Yeah.
That's
it. I heard an interesting stat at the end of the year that's saying that in the ACC this year, in conference play, there was never a ranked team versus ranked team. You know, that's how,
that's crazy.
You know, how they say, I think it's a decent league. It's not at the level like a Big East or the other leagues, but to say that you didn't have ranked team versus ranked team this year, that tells you a lot.
Well, and you look at, in Georgia Tech, and I said Georgia Tech was going to give a Duke a run for their money, and they were leading Duke at halftime 31-26 in the ACC tournament on the second day, and they lost by only 8, 78-70. And now Duke, which a lot of people have as a favorite to win the NCAA tournament, they're dealing with injuries right now, and God willing, people will be healthy and be better. I'm going to throw a stat at you that you're not going to like. Going back to Syracuse this season. Of the 33 games that Syracuse competed in, there's only 3 times this season that they have back-to-back wins. Yeah. Syracuse did not string together multiple wins in 33 games any more than 3 times. When they beat Lemoyne, Colgate, and Youngstown State to start the season just barely in each game, beat Lemoyne by 4, beat Colgate by 2, and beat Youngstown State in double overtime by 9. So in 3 games combined, Syracuse won by 15 total points. That was a streak of more than, or 2 or more games. Georgia Tech and at Boston College on January 7th to January 11th. And then late in the season, Virginia, the last game of the regular season, and Florida State, the first game of the ACC tournament for Syracuse, who played in the first round. So in 33 games this season, this 2024-25 Syracuse squad only had back-to-back victories 3 times.
Yeah, and know what? And we've become spoiled around these parts because when historically we'll be a team that can nonchalantly just go through the non-conference, come into conference play, maybe with 1 loss, depending on who we challenged ourselves with in the non-conference. You know what I'm saying? And off to the races in the conference play. But so I would be interested to see, not say you got to look it up, but just non-conference wise coming into the season, how well we've done since we've been in the ACC. It just seemed like lately of course, this year has probably been one of the worst ones, but lately we've gone through periods where, we'll probably get into conference play with 3 or 4 losses before we even start conference play. Yeah. Heck, we even just lost a record even with the last year with Maui tournament. When Jim went to the Maui, I think his first 2 times not first 2, but the only 2 times we went, maybe we won it. We won the tournament. And then, like you said, last year, we had to settle to beat Chaminade in the tournament. So that just shows you how far.
It was the only win they had in the tournament. They lost the other 2 teams.
Yeah.
So Syracuse's non-conference record this year was 7-6. Almost 500. Their non-conference record last year under Adrian Autry was 9-7. Or no, I'm sorry. 9-3. 9-3. And then Their non-conference record in Boeheim's last season was 7-5. Their non-conference record in Boeheim's second to last season was 7-6. So they've been just basically in non-conference play. They've been playing right around the equator with almost as many losses as wins.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pattern that you can see. I mean, like I said, you have to go back to the Big East times where we, like I said, in the non-conference, the teams that we had, the experience and talent they had, that was almost like a shock if they lost the first game, or lost a game. I mean, we lost the first game out after the national title game, but still, I mean, I'm just saying, it was something that was rarely done in these parts. And they challenged themselves in some of them years, too. We played Michigan State of the world, some of these top teams that won their conference tournaments that, they play against in the non-conference. But, as of late, that's not to say, it's something, it's just a slow decline that we watch with this program.
Yeah, and they, again, with the transfer portal this year, brought in a lot of seniors. So what is this team going to look like? J.J. Starling has some more time. Elijah Moore was a true freshman. He got hurt. But you look at the seniors here, and obviously if anybody has the COVID year, that's another conversation. But you have Jaquan Carlos, who's a senior. You have Jair Davis, who's a senior. They both transferred in. You have Eddie Lampkin Jr., who transferred in, who's a senior. You have Naheem McLeod, who transferred in a couple years ago, who's a senior. And you have Lucas Taylor, who transferred in, who's a senior. And you have J.J. Starling, whose hometown is Baldwinsville, so he could stay. You got Chris Bell, who, you look at what is that going to look like. I feel like if I had to put my feet to the fire right now and say who's on the roster for 25-26 that's on the roster for 24-25, I would say of everybody that I'm looking at, I would say Kyle Cuff Jr., maybe JJ, Petar Mastorovich, and potentially Elijah Moore. I could see 4. Chris Bell and Donnie Freeman, the jury's out for me on that.
Yeah, I would say out of that group, it'll mainly be probably Donnie. But, I mean, coming off of injuries, it's a matter of whether you want to stay with the program or not. That's the thing. But just coming off of injury, is he willing to take that next step to the next level? I mean, we really didn't really get to see anything out of him. I mean, he had a couple of good games here and there. But yeah, out of that group you named off, I will add, I would be probably more hesitating on Donnie than Chris. I mean, I'm not know unless Chris gonna go back to the West Coast, So other than that, I don't see what other options he has,
Yeah, and I mean it's been a rough year. It hasn't felt the same. It's been frustrating. It's been confusing. It's been just an absolute detachment from the history of Syracuse basketball. So John Wildhack, the athletics director, has been notorious for giving news that Syracuse fans don't like. And he said, Adrian is safe. We're doing year 3. What are your thoughts?
The same thing as a program that probably don't have the resources to go out and hire. And you don't even really got to hire a big name coach. You just got to find the right up and coming coach.
Right.
There's some mid-majors coaches out there. If that was the direction you were looking in, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's one of these things where they don't want to pay one contract of a fired coach and still try to pay a contract for somebody else coming in, But they are notorious for doing that. You might hang around a little too long with the group, but maybe we got our next Fran Brown somewhere in basketball out there. So
I'll tell you who it is.
Give him a call.
I'll tell you who it is.
Oh, yeah? Who you got?
It's a 2-for-1.
Uh-huh.
You hire McNeese State head coach Will Wade and you get Q back.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, I said Syracuse can't lose Malik, and they definitely can't lose Malik and Q. They lost them both. Q's going into the NCAA tournament. Malik's going into the NCAA tournament, but he may be injured. But both of these guys leave Syracuse and have immediate success. And some people would say, well, okay, Dan, it's Duke. Of course they will. How many people thought that Q was going to go to McNeese State and be in a better state of being than Syracuse?
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't. Yeah, I mean, and kudos to him. He got to his team and they won their conference tournament.
Yep.
And hey, they're in the dance. You can't beat that feeling, and that's why I say when you said that news, that's definitely the first team I'm be looking for when the brackets come out to see how well they do. Because like I said, I didn't get a chance to see them this season, so it'll be good to see Q on the court.
Yeah, and people were dogging him like, oh, why is he going to McNeese State? You're going to leave Syracuse for McNeese? He must not be that good. Maybe nobody wants to recruit the guy is like the notion. And now he's in the tournament, and if you decide to watch the tournament, you're going to see him. So, I mean, good for Q and good for Malik. And, Syracuse got to get it together. But this has been tough. It's been exhausting. The only thing more difficult than watching a Syracuse basketball game when they've given so many of them away in the final moments is trying to get a voucher to get some chicken. So that's the only thing more difficult.
Yeah. It was difficult all the way around. I'm telling you, it was rough. Yeah. I haven't seen a season like this in my life.
Yeah. And, most people would tell you to sit the bench down, but even that guy stopped saying it after a while. So he was like, nah, keep him up. I don't need to watch.
What am I watching?
Yeah, what am I doing here? So what is your final note for this edition of Tortora and Alford?
Hey, I'm ready for the tournament, man. Just hearing you talk about it on the lead in. I'm sitting here, got 4 screens going here with basketball being played.
Same.
I'm ready to give me my bracket. Let me do my best. One team is not going to stop the big dance. So it's not like just the first time we didn't make the dance. So just hopefully it doesn't become a regular thing around these parts, because it's not good when Syracuse is not in the tournament. That's something we always look forward to. We had a little magic recipe back in the days with the 2-3 zone. Most people didn't play against it. So if you're not going to play it, you better get some elite players and some leadership in that locker room, and and do better things than what you're doing now.
Yeah, it's crazy. NCAA tournament without Syracuse, not the same, but more of the same has been unfortunately happening for Syracuse fans. But I love March Madness. Nothing stops that for me. The Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge is on Yahoo, and you can find our link on all of our social media. It's up on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And we also have a QR code that you can just tap right on your screen, and you can find our bracket challenge. You can also go to Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York, and they have the QR code printed out, so you can go there to get some food, get something to drink. As always, drink responsibly, and make sure you just tap the page while you're there. Tap that little banner while you're there and join the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge. So it is fun no matter what. It's going to be exciting no matter what. The Zags are back in it. Don't count out former Syracuse assistant coach, who I think is a dark horse to win the thing, St. John's Red Storm, and Rick Pitino. So very excited for that. They asked him his favorite movie. He said The Godfather. And if anybody's surprised, I will just ask you this question. Have you ever seen him and Al Pacino in the same room at the same time? No, exactly. So with that being said, they're like, Dad, but he what? Hey, I'm just saying. Put them next to each other. I'm just saying. So with that being said, for Tortora and Alford, Isaac, if his bracket is better than mine in the Wake Up Call Bracket Challenge, we're going to be in the challenge with you. Put your bracket up against ours. If Isaac beats me, he gets 2 bags of new candy. If I beat him, I get a large pizza with the toppings of my choice. and whoever loses has to wear the other person's stuff. But I fully made that knowing that for Christmas I bought Isaac a Washington Commanders shirt that I like. So if I lose, at least I know I get to wear the shirt I bought. So thank you as always.
There you go. That's the only thing I got Commanders. So there you go.
There you go. Well, as always, brother, I love you. I appreciate you. And we'll have plenty more to come with Tortora and Alford on Wake Up Call very soon.
Definitely, indeed. Love you too, man. Be good.
All right, take care. That coming from Isaac Alford on Wake Up Call. We're going to take one final step aside and wrap up today's show right after this fast break from inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to K-9 Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see K-9 Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call K-9 Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K-9 Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Cannot thank you enough for being a part of the show. And of course, today on a Friday, we bring you the wonderful Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero. And of course, the Top Dog of the Week, brought to you by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And Tortora and Alford, a show within a show. It's a product of Wake Up Call. Today it was inside of Wake Up Call with my brother, Mr. Isaac Alford, bringing you some history about Syracuse basketball, and unfortunately, a little bit of adversity going on in the history, but we always spin things to a positive, and I pray and hope for the coaches and the student athletes and everyone involved with the program, strength and conditioning, and everyone there, that Syracuse finds their way back to a place of positivity, prosperity, and goodness. With that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. You can find Wake Up Call by going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also find us I do want to give a special note here to the wonderful Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina that we partner with. Brooklyn Pickle started in the state of New York, and they have now traveled down to the First in Flight down in North Carolina, and you can find them. I do so much work in Carolina. It's like another home to me as well. And so 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right down the street from, I think it's like 9 minutes, less than 10 minutes from the Pinehurst golf courses. So we'll see you down at Brooklyn Pickle. Let them know that DT sent you. And, of course, a big time thanks to our partners in Central and Upstate New York. Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Servomation, MON-FRI, the snack capital of the world, Avicoli's, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Mother's Cupboard, Brian's Landing, Pizza Man, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call. You'll find the Dolphins weekly on Wednesdays at what we call Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni telling their stories like you'll never see anywhere else, with coverage the Dolphins have never had anywhere else. And we bring it all to you right here. You can find our content of almost 200 videos by going to Wake Up Call, by going to Wake Up Call on YouTube. I got ahead of myself. YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. It's what happens when you're excited and you love what you do. You can subscribe, follow, click that little notification bell, make it spin because it's cute and it's fun, and it'll tell you when we're on the air. And, of course, you can find our Lemoyne playlist on the YouTube channel. You can also find the Lemoyne Dolphins by going to WakeUpCallDT.com on the homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com and Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You just saw the Bobcats and I on the road in the nation's tournament. The USCAA National Division I men's basketball tournament was held in Buffalo, New York, and they were the number 1 seed. And I had the opportunity to have exclusive behind the scenes of the Bobcats, sat on the bench, went on the team bus, ate team meals, went to team meetings, did shoot around, and was there for practice as well. Cannot thank the coaches enough. Clay Gagan Sherman, X, Nolan. Want to thank Brooke Paro, Mary Hawkins, all of the student athletes, and a big special thanks to Shamari Baskerville and Darren Joyner, our seniors, who I can't believe are graduating, and thank them so much for all the good that they brought to the program. The Bobcat Buzz is every month on Wake Up Call exclusively. Go to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time. Claw your way over Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to hear student athletes, coaches, and administration tell their stories, including our most recent story with Brevin Casella, EIWA Wrestling Individual Champion, who's now fighting for an NCAA National Championship. And guess who else is going to be there? His teammate, Corey Day, from the Binghamton Wrestling team. You'll find all of our content on youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find our Binghamton playlist, and you can also find the Bearcats by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the Exclusive Partners tab. For more information, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, thank you for hanging with me on a Friday. I appreciate y'all. I love you dearly. You can find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. It's all on WakeUpCallDT.com. So if you've forgotten anything that I said, shame on you. But WakeUpCallDT.com will bring it back to you. From inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, you know how we do it every single time. God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.